Right now.
Okay.
Hello. Welcome back. There are no funny noises this time because we were all saying secret things before we got here. But now we're back.
It was about donuts.
It was
Dang it.
actually.
Yeah, talking about
That's
secret
true.
donuts.
They still don't know the content of the general undertaking. It's going to be okay. Maybe it
It
wasn't
has
about
made-
donuts.
Really want a donut though.
It was about donuts.
All right. So the stream is now gonna be about donuts.
Donuts Unmade. So
So
sad.
You're standing at the donut, and there's a donut there.
And there's somebody pitching a game.
What do you donut?
I do not disturb it. I'll tell you what I do not. Okay. So Prophet, who is drained and filled with existential dread.
Right. I'd forgotten about these.
I had to, but and also disgraced, although I don't think that applies here. I don't think the existential dread necessarily applies either, but drained
a rough time.
certainly does. Prophet, who is drained, is going to push herself and push Magician to try and carry the Hangman and Abbott over. Now, the easy way to do this is if Abbott ejected and just climbed on the Magician. Abbott's weight individually would be insignificant. But we were told by all our sensors, don't get out here, it's not safe. So that is not what
There would be
will
some
put forward.
other risk involved there, certainly. Yes.
That's why you transcend and turn into a mist monster.
It's definitely an option.
That's definitely an
Andy's
option.
got this.
All right. So what is the action to lift heavy things?
To carry your friend carefully across this like pit of doom.
Flow.
Yes.
Flow is definitely a front runner.
Yeah, flow feels right to me. Yeah.
Unless you can explain how you're using some other action to do that.
Nope. Flow feels good to me.
Fair game.
Yes. Okay.
How bad of a thing to do is this? I mean, you're not transcended, so actually I have guidance here.
Yeah.
Yeah. This is definitely not just a mundane threat. These are leviathans of a type.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, it's definitely desperate.
That sounds right.
Do you get standard effect, or is this? I don't know what giving you limited effect would look like. Like you get partway out and then we make you roll again. It doesn't really seem very interesting. So
I think desperate standard
seems fine. Yeah.
feels right.
Yeah, because I think desperate covers us for the ways that this will be horrible, which is just if it's fine unless something goes bad and then it goes really bad.
Right.
It's fine until it isn't.
Yeah.
I do think that I don't think it matters, but I do think I am invoking my engine's impulse, which is cursed. That the curse of the magician is to strain the pilot. And that is why I am drained right now, is from
this already.
Is from overtaxing myself, and now I'm trying to do something that is beyond my abilities. It doesn't matter because what impulse does is allow you to be transcendent and not have it count as an action, and I'm not transcending right now.
But what we can do is offer you a dark bargain.
Oh, yeah, totally.
And then I think you get an XP, right? Is that how it works?
Yeah, so if your actions align with one of your engine's impulses, or you accept a dark bargain based on its impulse, that action does not cost transcendence, and you mark XP. So
oh yes, please.
So there is that carrot for us to do something to do with the curse here, and I think it's either going to be that a bad thing. You know what it is that it's gonna get you across. And you're gonna be like, here you go, Abbott and the Hangman. Plop, you're on the thing, and then it'll give out right at the last moment, and you're going to drop into the pit.
Perfect.
That is my dark bargain to you. That we'll take the curse on a more kind of like broad sense of like you are cursed. Things just go badly.
Right.
When you're in
And I think Prophet is to some degree cognizant of this, both because of her precognizance, but also because of like the outputs where it's telling you like you're taxing it. Like she doesn't know exactly where it's going to fail. She knows it's going to fail at some point.
And that you're already drained and that you're not transcended here is like you're not feeding it enough juice to actually do the whole thing.
Right. It's okay. I'll transcend and fly out of it. It'll be fine. It'll be
I'm sure.
It'll be great. Okay.
I'm just thinking like I got to give Raina something to do, and pulling
people out of
the magician out of horrible situation.
Okay, I am good with this. Let's go.
Okay. So I'm gonna roll flow. I don't think our fame, identity, reputation is at stake right now. Nobody's watching us, so Red Baroness doesn't apply. Yeah. So I'm going to use a bond with the magician it kind of doesn't matter whether I'm giving myself a die or, I can use 2 bonds to both give myself a die and remove the wound penalty.
You can only ignore the harm penalties while you're transcended.
Okay. So I will.
The duration on it is until your transcendence ends. So if you're not transcended,
got it. It's immediate. All right, that's fine. So I'll just spend a bond with the magician to help.
Yeah,
so
it's doing its best.
It's doing its best. So I'll lose a die from injury, but I'll gain a die from that, and I'll gain a die from the dark bargain.
Cool.
Yep. Cool. Desperate standard. That's the way to go. This is the best. Here we go. We're gonna make it.
Sean's gonna mark 2 XP from this roll. He's clearly winning.
Yes!
Whoa.
Okay, a 1, a 2, and a 6. So yeah, so like you get Abbott and the Hangman across, and you like plop them down on the plinth right next to Judgment. And as the magician is like about to daintily put one of its toes onto the plinth, it shudders a bit and stalls, and then as if being like washed down the sink, you just spiral downwards suddenly.
Can like the tiny bit of like plinth, like the very lip of plinth that it was landing on, also crumble away?
Yeah,
like,
totally.
It lands and it just, and that it was all decayed and rotted.
Yeah, the stone gives way. You just happen to like catch on, and like multiple hands try to like grab onto the rock and like slip down it.
Yeah,
and you're just like out of sight, gone immediately.
Yeah. Nice.
Nope.
I don't think you can nope a dark bargain. It's not a consequence. You can't resist it. I mean, you can come after me, but I don't think you can say like that didn't happen.
Down after.
Yeah.
Oh, that's red. Yeah, sure.
Right.
Cool.
You're more than welcome to like go in there and get her, but yeah, this is like
because that's the deal with dark bargains, right? If you agree to it, it happens.
Yeah.
Red. In which case, Abbott, can you make sure that Judgment is ready for travel? Actually, I don't think the conversation works like that at all. I think that there is like a roaring sound as like a tail of fire comes zooming by you, and like there's a Doppler effect, right? Like as Rain is talking the whole way down, and all you hear is like, Abbott, can you please make sure that Judgment is ready for like I'm past the plinth and like flying towards Abbott. Going, how did you not see that coming? And I'm gonna try and grab you out of the
perfect.
Yeah.
Great. So all hell is about to break loose.
Red.
Yeah. Hell breaking loose is this part of the game.
All right. So I'd like to use the strength and speed of Chariot to make sure that we don't have a drowned prophet here.
Cool. Do you want? It sounds like you're transcending as well. If you're leaving a trail of fire.
Oh, I figured I always had like the main that it
Main
gets
is always
like
fiery, I guess.
yeah, but I you know what? Eff it, let's go. Yeah, let's crank it up to 11. Yeah, I'll totally transcend. There is that like transformation detonation in midair as I like come out the other side like fully like fleshed up on top of the stone and fire trailing behind me and I use the main of fire almost like a jet engine to propel myself forward, grab my friend here.
Cool.
Love it.
What kind of action is that, or what is my position?
So what are you rolling?
Yeah, position depends on
Defy.
I mean, I ask only because I have to.
Strash, what's your defy at?
4. And I'm protecting my friend, which means that this doesn't count against the transcendence tick.
Yep. And this definitely sounds like it aligns with powerful.
Mm-hmm.
So your engine will help you
Awesome.
for free.
Awesome.
Nice.
This is desperate stuff though.
Oh, all right.
For sure. You can definitely have standard effect, even though you're plunging into the heart of this thing.
Let's go.
But this is the things start spiraling out of control moment.
So I'm gonna spend one of my bonds with Chariot to negate the slashed wounds that I have.
Yep.
And I'll push myself here.
All right, we're all messed up.
Everyone's pretty hurt. I think even Abbott has sustained some. Cool. So everyone's just gonna roll 6s forever.
I mean, we are in Raina's wheelhouse, right? So
like you succeeding at this is not so surprising.
Right. I think you rolled nearly a flush there, or nearly a straight there.
2, 4, 5, 6. So yeah, like you're gonna be able to like come back up out of the, like, you plunge down under the surface of this thing. There's like a horrible gloop ploppy sound, and then you're gonna like reemerge with the magician in hand. But like, what exactly does it look like?
Well, actually, I think that I plunge under and there is that sound, and then it looks like the surface stills and you don't actually see anything for a couple of seconds, and then there's this like building of light, and then there is like the explosion upwards with like a flaming like fist as I'm like dragging magician up behind me, right?
Nice.
Yes.
Yeah, and there's like the boost of momentum that like carries you, and then you like arc back down and land on the edge of the pit somewhere.
Yeah, I'm probably gonna let go of magician like a split second before I land, so I can like rotate my body, land all 4 feet, like slide back dramatically, however many feet, and then like catch magician.
Yeah.
You know, and yeah.
I would like to ask a question in the intervening.
Mm-hmm.
This isn't so much a flashback as much as I just didn't want to interrupt that action. When I fall down, what's in there? What do I see underneath? Like for the moment that I'm below.
It's like being suspended inside of a jellyfish. There's like weird luminescent like tendrils within it that form like some kind of network. There are little tunnels with the bugs going about their various duties. And it's like where you might have expected this to be the bottom of something. It's like, oh no, actually there's this other bigger thing underneath. There's like this huge space that's like translucent and you can kind of see into, and the little like luminescent filaments give you the sense of scale. Like you see them like, you know, parallaxing and going off into the distance. And it's clear that there's some like huge organism down here.
Yep.
Like brooding under the superstructure.
Perfect.
That it just happens to like the two happen to intersect, but they're like equally large. One is the other. And as like you plop in, and some of the filaments like change colors towards like they go from being like peaceful looking like blues and greens to like yellows and oranges, and then there's just like red and white as this like fiery thing streaks in, grabs you, and then like, bursts back out. There's like horrible sounds and like trembling and all this activity that starts kicking off down below. But you don't really get to like take it all in because you just get like ripped back out of the space.
Yeah.
Born again.
I have this move called Dark Omen.
More of that, huh?
And I see, the thing is, the move is about persuading people to do things based on these dark omens. And I have a case for doing it. I come out and say, we've awoken what lies beneath. We need to get out fast. And what I'm going to try, and what I want is for Abbott to pay attention to the urgency and go quickly when I think that she would probably otherwise. I'm not sure. Maybe she would like to go fast, but
Right. Abbott is, so I don't want to interrupt anything that's going on, because what will happen is the camera will shift and we'll see what Abbott's doing.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah. Whether you want to adhere to that or not, I'm not really stuck on like trying mechanically to convince you, but if you stick around and try to figure it out and a giant thing comes out and attacks us all, I'm gonna wreck XP for predicting it.
Awesome. Superb.
That's what I'm gonna do.
Into it.
I've just, don't mind me, I'm starting a 6-count clock called what is it called? I mean, it's about this thing, whatever it is down below, like
Hatching
destroying
Day.
everything. Hatching Day.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yeah, I was thinking this was the titular creature, that this was Earth Unmade right now, right? Like that's something. Like this whole thing is going to come collapsing down around us. I don't know. I'm not sure what's actually going to happen.
Something very bad will happen when this clock fills. Needless to say, maybe the whole superstructure will collapse, killing everyone. Maybe you'll be overwhelmed by whatever monster dwells beneath.
I'm going to move the clock over so that our lovely folks can see it.
Oh, yes, there we go. Here's a random clock that accidentally got pasted. Cool. Yeah, so let's cut to Abbott.
Yeah.
Shall we?
Superb.
So like a bunch of stuff happens next to you. It's very sudden and fiery.
And the wonderful thing is, as soon as Abbott is, and I imagine Abbott gets set down, having wrapped the hangman's hands around the magician's like feet, sort of deal, like, and so like had like set down like very rather like sort of lightly, and as soon as they set down, they transcend.
Yep.
And so are then clad in flesh and wounds, and mist starts pouring off of them into this. So, and we see as this happens that it's in the background. We see all of this much slower moving version of Reyna like launching into movement, and this like comet streaking by, in contrast to like the cool and the like the frost and the fog. And transcended, first thing that like the hangman will do is sort of like step closer to Judgment and just, are you lonely? Are you okay?
And as your transcendence like sets in and the temperature starts dropping around you,
yeah,
like condensation starts forming on both your engine and on Judgment, and there's this like vortex thing that happens because all the air is really hot and it's like rushing in to take the space. So there's this weird like wind, and the mist coming off of you is getting like pushed around the space in weird ways. And yeah, do you like touch Judgment at all, or are you just like talking to it?
There will like initially that as a line, and like in fact we'll reach out. and probably pause before in fact touching them.
Yeah, like a little bit of hesitation, and
Yeah.
then yeah, and it's like no response at all, and then the moment you touch them,
Yeah.
I think like frost forms on them, like all the water that had to like all the condensation that had come suddenly like freezes, and they're covered in this like layer of frost. Unless you want to roll something, though, I don't know if anything like happens as such.
That's right, because if they don't like say anything from there,
it's not like it's inert. Yeah, like it's functionally a statue.
Great. And see, that's enough information for Abbott to like have a sense of like, oh, like, so if Abbott can like empathize and like with like non-people things, then the read on this is that, oh, we're like so deeply asleep and so like, oh, what's the thing? Like deep in like hibernation and without like power or resources, that there's nothing.
It's not alive in the way that your engines that you pilot are still alive. It's in some other state.
Somewhere, somehow
it's like
else.
It's so broken that it's like basically comatose or was like dead and can be brought back to life by being repaired. But yeah, it's like inert at the moment.
Great. That is enough information, which is that Abbott can't necessarily like coax this engine out via word with like talking to it, right? Is the
I mean, maybe it's just sleeping.
Maybe
you just need to wake it up.
Yeah, is there anything you want to do with it, having like touched it and realized that it's basically just like a statue?
The given that it is in essence like comatose and inert, and I imagine it's been here for like as long as Prophet has been was entombed. Yeah. I think that the thing that Abbott then thinks to do is to like make a gift of a bunch of memories of like the world as it exists, and like pour out a bunch of energy in like the form of like memories. And if that can be, I don't know if that can be linked to like a gift from both Abbott and the Hangman, because the Hangman has like power. Yeah. That's like, oh great, you're okay, no, like kind of like the most gentle version of like, wake up.
Yeah, hey, it's time to go.
What? Yeah.
Cool.
That's what.
Yeah, how you do that? Is this like an empathy thing? Is this?
I think it's almost assuredly an like the version of like feelings jumpstart, so empathy, and it being about like there's a great big wide world waiting, and it's terrible and hard, and I think it needs you.
Cool. So yeah, if you want to roll to empathize with this thing,
when you like go and say like, are you okay, and are you lonely, there's like, I don't know if Prophet can actually hear this, but if she could, there's like part of her that's raging. It's like, why don't you ever ask me that?
It's totally like while you're floating down below, like before you've been plucked up, you hear Abbott say that, even if the time doesn't quite sync up, like that's when Prophet hears it.
Yes.
Yeah.
And there is that moment of like, you get a clear signal just briefly of her saying that. Like,
there's just a roar from below, and it probably it's just Prophet's crying out because she's been absucked into this jellyfish thing. I'm sure that's why she's screaming in anger.
Utterly.
But it's like no one else can hear it. It's just you in this little box.
Screaming. Yeah, exactly. Right. No comes just so mad.
The only time Abbott acts like a person with feelings is with engines.
With things that aren't people.
Yep. Whoops.
So rolling to empathize with this thing is definitely risky.
Woohoo!
And you're trying to like power it back up.
Yeah.
I think this can be limited. I mean, no, you're interested.
This is the stranger's jam, is all I'm saying.
Yeah, I
Yeah.
think you can have standard effect as well. This might result in us starting a clock for it like getting rolling, but we'll see.
Okay, great. Let's see. Things that I'm looking at. When we look at Red Baroness, so at current, the judgment is inert, so I don't know that. And I'm asking, this is a question. Fame, identity, or reputation is at stake. Like, I don't think that's a thing at this juncture. Y'all, what do you?
I mean, if
Doesn't
like this
seem
was
like
being broadcasted on live vid, then maybe, but I don't think amongst us.
If your way of connecting with it was like, I am the greatest hero of our time, like you need to help
Right.
me save the world.
Yeah.
You know, that kind of thing could be a thing. But you're like,
In case it's any doubt, that's me.
Yeah.
Utterly.
Right.
So if it was taking the reign
when
of
that argument is made, maybe, yeah.
So yeah, for now, I don't think that your methods really reflect that.
Great. That's exactly what I wanted to touch in on. And then
I wonder though if
Yes.
if the hangman, who is wise and wounded.
See, I think the wounded is like in particularly pertinent with Abbott's line being like the world is dark and terrible, and I think it needs you.
Right. I know this is hard, but you need to do it anyway.
This is like the person with. This is like the deaf person leading their blind friend around. You know, it's just like everyone's all broken and fucked up and needs to mutually support one another in this particular situation.
Yeah.
So some of that.
Yeah. I think that very much applies.
And then with wounded, is that a bonus die? I don't remember because I can't.
Wounded will let you mark XP, and it does not cost transcendence to do this thing.
Even better.
Yeah. It's good.
Great. I will do the thing. Is there anything else I should be thinking of?
Profit.
Sorry.
Who just fell into a pit to get you here.
Yes.
Wow. Yeah, okay.
Sorry.
No, please don't. Please don't apologize. Great.
Yeah, so like in addition to the other effects where you're gonna like start waking this engine up, also ask me a gather info question.
Great.
Because there will be some bleed back and forth.
Okay, awesome. Roll and then ask a question and go from there?
Yep.
Great. A 4. Boo woo.
Great. So yeah, you like touch it and then try to like, you know, connect with it. And immediately there's this like horrible pain in your chest. And you feel like really there's like this wave of sadness and despair.
It's a feedback loop.
And the pain in your chest is not like oh, I'm so sad though. It's like there's like a sharp, like something has like hit me in the chest. And the hanged man like slumps down a bit, and we get this different view of the like kneeling figure, and in its chest where the pilot would be, the like compartment is open, and there's like an impossibly old corpse hanging out of it, and it's like spare hand is like clutching at that, trying to like hold this person in, and it like it's as if it's like pinned in place because of that, like it's a butterfly pinned to a board or something, like it can't move because it's so like heartbroken about this thing that has happened. And that all like becomes like immediately clear, and you get this like flash of like an emotional sense of all that stuff without actually like, you know, like have a flashback to what happened.
Right.
You just get all the feelings associated with it.
My person is dead and nothing else can be.
And it wakes up enough to like you see the hand that's holding its chest kind of like there's like a creaking and some dust like stirs and falls from it. And this like low kind of rumbly wail like emanates from the engine, and the Hanged Man briefly like joins in.
And Abbott will buy
In
into
that
that.
way that we have seen before.
Mm-hmm.
And there's like a stone on metal grinding sound as it slips. The hand that's holding the spear like slips down, and the Judgment like kind of curls tighter into more of a ball.
Yeah.
And so we can start a clock about waking up Judgment, but it's not awake yet.
No.
It's gonna take a little more.
Stages of grief.
It's crippled with grief. Yep.
So sad.
What's the what's the second stage of grief?
One of them's denial.
It's denial. Yeah.
I don't know. What stage do you get after like 3,000 years of dwelling on it?
Acceptance.
Yeah.
Well,
But if it hasn't quite gotten there.
you have to remember that the thing about grief is that it's like not ever linear, and you get to go back and forth and fuck it up over and over and over and over again.
I know that the whole stages of grief thing is kind of bogus. Even like the person that invented it has said so. But I was looking for the one that's labeled anger because that's the one I'm good at.
Yeah, that's technically the third based on the thing. Shock, denial, anger. I don't remember though.
And then
Anger's
I'm gonna go ahead and advance this clock a tick.
Yeah.
Here, hatching day, because that like wail, that's when we hear the other sound.
a replying cry.
Yeah.
It was different in tenor. Yeah, that's where the anger comes in.
I mean, that was a risky roll. I think you could advance the clock too. It was a mixed result on
I
a risky
both
roll.
reduced her effect and did a thing. So I feel like I've, because like a 6 would have gotten you all the way. It would have just woken up and been all right. So, but you get to ask me a question from your gather info list or any of the other ones in play.
Oh snap! All right, let me take a quick look at that.
So says the move.
Ta-da! So I think that I will be very singular in my task, despite my favorite. I won't ask my favorite question this time through, as much as I almost always just would like and prefer.
Just out of a self-indulgent interest, I would love to know what that one is. But
my favorite question is, what do I see here, despite an effort to conceal it?
Oh, okay. Yeah.
That is always my favorite question.
Right.
However, I am going to borrow Raina. Thank you very much. From the Guardian playbook. So, and it's, how can I help Judgment?
Oh.
In my imaginings, it has a lot to do around honoring Fallen. That's my hunch, but
there's like a split here.
Yeah.
There's the version of helping Judgment where you're like, cool, that person died like 3,000 years ago. Get over it. We need your help. Like, shake it off. And you just need to like get rid of that, the like thing, the token of its grief that is still stuck in it.
Yeah.
You need to unpin the butterfly.
Or there's a version of that that is more reconciliatory and like honors that person and makes it okay that they're dead. Maybe like push them back into the compartment and close it and be like, cool, no, you're good, everything's fine. So some picture of like denial, like some way of helping Judgment deal with this just like almost literal hole in its chest over this particular bit of loss.
Great. I know what that looks like then.
There's also a certain amount of like imperious pride in it, of like this being like the fatalism of it, of like, no, that was the best that there ever was or could have been, and I can't let go of it. Like,
yeah,
that whole kind of thing is certainly at play here, with regards to this former pilot, now corpse.
Great.
So yeah, it's a complicated emotional quagmire.
It's perfect. I love it.
Is stuck in, and it needs to be snapped out of that in some way. And this is all to say that would help Judgment. Judgment has this unhealthy attachment to this thing, and it would be good to resolve that somehow.
Perfect.
It's not gonna, hurt them more to not have this thing. Meanwhile, Reyna and Prophet come rocketing up out of the more literal quagmire of goopy, weird insect hive thing.
Bug jelly.
Jellyfish. Yeah, it's a bunch of things. And immediately there's a change in the kind of activity of the swarm of bugs. A lot of them retreat back into the thing or into the various corridors up above. And it's all to make way for an army of the mid-size, big spiky ones.
Rhinoceros beetles.
Yeah, some of which are wearing bits of other dead leviathans as extra armor or as more spiky bits. There's kind of this hermit crab-esque behavior that they have where they accumulate parts of dead things.
Yeah.
That's amazing.
Wear them and use them as tools. So there's this it's not a super uniform group of them that emerges, but it's this chaotic jumble of scrap materials pinned to these things as they come out and start
scrap
running
rhino
towards you guys.
I'm imagining some of them looking kind of like barnacles, where they have just
where they have their chitin has grown over and moved to include these other elements that have been grafted into them. So they're kind of they look like weird barnacly pirate ant beetles.
Whoa.
All right.
Well, we know what we need to do. We've got to fend them off so that Abbott has time to get that engine out of there. So I think this is epsilon delta formation, and we there's no better person to protect their teammate and fend off hordes than Reyna. So I say we fight these things off. And Prophet will gladly give support to Reyna in battering these things back. Try to catch any that she misses.
Okay. Is that what you want me to do? Is I think Reyna yells out is it packaged up and good to go? What are you waiting for? If there is a small army of beetles, I definitely do the thing where I crack knuckles and then I stand up on the hind legs and I crack a second pair of knuckles and I'm
Nice.
all right.
Yep. We got to get. Prophet looks and says, "We got to give Abbott time. She's taking her time to talk to it." And there's just so much bitterness in her voice right now.
Taking her sweet time.
I think I definitely give a quote to the Beatles that totally can't understand me, but monologues are important when you're the hero of the people. And I forget that we're not on camera right now because I'm acting like we are, right? And I point at them and I'm like, you and your kind may have faced the second best pilot ever, but now you have to face me. And I'm totally going to go at them and just wreck them like fools and protect my friends.
I think Matt has the right idea of pirate beetle in chat. It was good.
Not literal pirates, okay.
Nope, they got hats now. No,
and this is like a medium gang of various assorted bugs, and it takes 6 of them to be equivalent in fighting force to an engine. But there are 24 of them or something. There's like enough
Right.
that they are like a scale larger than you at the moment.
Yeah.
I'm gonna push myself for effect because that's just not good enough, Beetles. You might
Yep.
be big bag Beetleborgs, but I've got Chariot, and Chariot is powerful.
Yeah.
And you're just going at them like head on.
Oh
There's
yeah,
no
there's
restriction.
and I'm relying on the fact that what I'm doing is so absolutely unexpected because nobody who rationally worries about their safety should be doing the kinds of things I'm doing. I'm like leaping in, punching through one, like throwing it at a set of 3 while rotating into the next set, and like fire everywhere, just like, you know.
What I love is that like these things with their big horns are used to like charging into things, and you're like, no, you're charging. You think you're the one that charges? I'm the one that charges. It's like a game of chicken as you're both chasing into.
Those that pay attention though, like you guys may actually notice that like Reyna will actually let something charge at her, like open up a hole so that its horn goes by, and then grab it and use its momentum to throw it into like the rest of the pack, like rotate on her heel and just like throw it at them, or like jump up and land on their backs because they can't seem to rotate their heads correctly, like with all 4 feet like clutched on with this like leonine force. So yeah, she's definitely she's fighting too many. And it's not smart, but she is fighting like somebody who knows how to take advantage of like all of the things that she has that they don't.
Sure.
Yeah.
They have
Deeply
numbers.
skillful.
Right.
Go ahead.
Oh, just that like Rain is flatly deeply skillful.
Yeah. Right. And Prophet is nowhere near this aggressive or capable, but she is very much making use of Magician's Cloak as like Matador style to like keep like trying to basically play cleanup. Like any that would escape Reyna, she is diverting them off to the side so they don't get to Abbott. So she's not so much concerned about destroying them as she is about making sure nothing gets past Reyna. Like Reyna's gonna wreck face, and she'll just kind of do control.
So what's my position? I'm guessing desperate.
Yeah.
Right.
Let's say desperate. There are lots of them. Otherwise, it would be more reasonable. But
And I feel like I'm getting an assist from my friend.
I think this is a group action. Well, I guess I could do assist. I feel like mechanically speaking, it's about the same, but does it change the scale if we're both doing it? Meaning, if we're
That's
fighting,
actually an interesting question.
If we're fighting together, do we match their scale? Because that would be a good reason for me to actually be doing this as a group action rather than doing this. I could sort of see the way I described it going either way.
It's not that we change their scales, that we increase our scale.
Right.
Yeah, I was kind of imagining the two of you fighting together and still being
Okay. No problem.
Scale down. Like if you were fighting alone, you'd be 2 steps down, but you're instead just 1 step down.
Right. That makes sense.
All right. We ready?
Yeah, so it's desperate, and your effect would be limited, but you pushed for standard, right? So there you go.
Nice.
Not a crit, but it is a 6.
Well, I'm going the already weakening stone beneath the magician like cracks and crumbles a little bit as the magician suddenly gets like heavier and weightier as I turn to stone within it as well. And I will transcend to fight this as well, and then I will spend a link to not have my wound penalties. Using all them links up.
Yep.
And
so yeah, we see like briefly inside the cockpit, we see you like transcend and like take a deep breath and be like, okay, I gotta like do it for my friends.
Yeah.
Even though you're all like messed up and distraught. You like
exactly. Well, yeah, I have to have Raina's back. I have to protect her, watch out. She's always watching out for us. I have to be taking care of her. I hope I don't cause you stress. I may. We'll see. Desperate standard? Desperate.
It's desperate limited.
Yes.
Unless, yeah, because like
desperate.
Thrush pushed for effect.
Yep.
You're welcome to do the same if you want.
If I push for effect, would it go up to desperate standard?
Yeah.
Okay, then yeah, I'll push for effect. Hold on a sec. So even if my roll doesn't help you or hurts you, the push will make a help. So that's good. Desperate standard. No bonus dice, but no penalty. Wah wah. Sorry,
Okay,
causing you stress.
The good news is that Reyna is sufficiently badass to make this happen.
Yes.
I think it's just like the thing that you're trying to do, that Prophet is trying to do, is like a reasonable thing, but there are so many of them that it's impossible to really like contain it all. And Reyna has to kind of like bail you out at one point because you get like surrounded or backed into a corner or something.
Yep.
It's totally the Guardian thing too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Where you're like about to get like,
I think one gets past you. I'm wrestling
whatever.
with it. I've got all 4 arms around it. You know, it's like trying to get up in my system, and then we see like Reyna have to like stop, turn back, grab it, chuck it off. You know,
Yeah, it's that kind of thing.
and
we get the shot from your perspective where the bug just suddenly disappears out of frame, and there's Reyna there all like fiery and
yeah, right. Yeah. No, it's good. It's good.
Cool. So I think you like beat back this first wave, and like scatter them. A lot of them are incapacitated or dead, and then a bunch of them like flee and like skitter away. And you manage not to like screw it up or have anything bad happen. So let's cut back to Ipsos piloting the Hangman, trying to help this bereaved robot.
Robot feelings are very important.
They're very big and very slow.
Yes. Not to be unduly joshed about. So upon like that shift in Judgment's posture, and in the part where the Hangman sort of comes like yet lower still, sort of eye to eye, and is able to see this like long desiccated and like kind of mummified corpse.
Yeah.
I assume fallen.
Yeah.
And I think that the thing that we see is the Hangman like reach out and like lay a hand over Judgment's hand and like bring that body and close it back up into.
Yeah, like push the body back into the crew compartment and close the front.
And gently and inexorably.
Yeah, just like, okay, no, like hush, go back in.
And under like the like Abbott says, we will honor your dead. And is a little bit perfunct and also like very sorrowful under all of that. And just sort of like honors a lot of the sorrow and like all that pain that Judgment has like brought forth, and like almost turns it into a feedback loop for a moment, like feelings wise. And I imagine they both stagger. And then we'll pause and be like, and nothing will ever be the same. And Reyna's making you look bad.
I was planning a stress for an assist.
Oh yeah.
And just wants to like very briefly, like we see a very brief like Abbott is passingly impish, and then it cuts to the scene of Reyna bailing Tor out.
Yeah, being a huge badass and like hauling the spot off of her friend. And,
yeah.
And
so both all the sorrow and like the world is bigger than you know.
Yeah. And there's like stuff to get to.
Yeah.
So Judgment has the like very classic like Greek helmet stylized kind of head, but it's really like stretched out and vertical. It's like this really long kind of pointy version of it.
Mm-hmm.
And all the frost that had formed is melting, and so of course it creates this sense that the thing is crying. And so we see water like pooling and dripping off of the like spiky pointy tips of their helmet.
Yes.
As you're like pushing the compartment closed, and like their chest is cut to look like a breastplate. Like they
Mhm.
look like a very knightly kind of figure.
And I feel like that hand has left like a renewed like frost print.
Yeah, there's like there's still this like area of cold frostiness where their heart is. But there's like the click as it closes.
Yeah.
And then there's like a change in its posture. It sounds like you're kind of trying to like convince it,
Yeah, a little.
like act and do stuff.
Yeah.
Which Abbott's not any good at. That's fine. Trying something new.
Right.
Do you wanna roll that for me?
Yeah, and do I like express? Like
You tell me, but it sounds like you're using words in some way. So it could be confess, it could be express, it could be forgive. There's room for those.
I feel like it's express more than it's confess or forgive. If only because like Abbott isn't necessarily, despite like the feedback mechanism around like all that sorrow, Abbott's pretty open about that all the time.
And I liked that bit where there was kind of a jab too of leverage of like, yeah, but also like she's making you look bad. Come on.
Yeah. So I feel like express is more the thing, and I'm gonna push myself so that I have a die instead of two.
Actually, you have an additional one. I spent express to assist you because I am making it look bad, like real
by
bad.
providing an example.
Like standing on a pile of 6 bugs while laughing bad.
Right.
Doing the like championship
them
belt
away.
motion. Yep.
Yeah.
But, I mean,
Tiger Millionaire.
Yeah, it's Tiger Millionaire.
Because you've got the 2 hands to go over your head, and then you have another 2 arms to do the.
Yes, fantastic.
Nice. No shortage of
of inspiring motifs. I love the idea of Judgment being more reserved than, and so it's also kind of galling.
Yeah, it's just like oh, they're doing it wrong.
And I don't know.
Fighting evil wrong.
Also, since I am cat-like, I would like to say that I am inspirring.
Oh no, that's the worst.
Better than bugs.
Look, scratch that last one.
Y'all.
All right. I'll cool it right now.
I think that Abbott, I'm still going to push Ipsos in this and come away with 2 dice.
Yeah. Now you can't have multiple people helping you, right? You can only get
because then it would be a group action, presumably.
Right.
Great. Alas.
But there's urgency that Tor has already suggested before. Well, broadcast before is like you need to do this fast. And now when there's that moment of like Tor's overwhelmed, trying to protect you, trying to keep the bugs off, and Reyna has to bail. She's like I feel like she yells to Judgment, even though Judgment can't hear her in the way that Judgment can hear Abbott, Ipsos. We need to go, and we need to go now. And I mean, I think I'm again trying to broadcast the impending doom upon us, that we're not fighting the fight right now. We're fighting this. This is nothing compared to what's about to happen.
Great.
Yeah. So but I don't think mechanically the only way I can help you is if I did it as a group action.
I even just the juxtaposition of cutting back and forth between like this sort of like slow and deliberate and like very like down a tunnel, like Abbott, Ipsos, and the Hangman in Judgment, and we cut back to Tor railing against time and Reyna like dashing all these bugs into
Yep.
pieces, and even just that sense of urgency, even if we don't see it
'Cause
mechanically, is very, very.
Tor is usually very serene about things regarding time. Like she doesn't rush for things, and she is rushing now.
Right.
Cool.
Exciting. So positioning.
This is definitely like y'all haven't been screwing things up, so I think it's still risky. The bug waves are contained. It's not immediately a threat. Actually, if anything, you're in a controlled position, I think.
Great.
Nothing's gonna mess you up at this point.
Mm-hmm.
And you can have standard effect.
Good times.
Just trying to push this thing to wake up and
Yep.
get
And 2
moving.
bonus dice. All right,
Wake
here
me
we
up.
go.
Or you
Do,
go.
do, do,
I'm not
do, do, do,
planning
do.
on
A 6. Do,
waiting
do, do,
3,000 years solo. Sorry.
Please don't apologize.
So there's that click as the compartment closes. And then that like shift in the posture where it kind of like the hand that was kind of like loosening its grip on the spear and slipping like closes and tightens, and it pushes itself upright and like looks around and suddenly seems to like become aware of what's happening around it. The like rotting remnants of the like epic banner scarf thing like fall apart as it stands, and like the big like gold threaded fancy bit of it that's mostly still intact like falls on the plinth and at its feet, in some heavy-handed imagery that the fans later would say was overwritten.
Okay.
And not for them.
And then you hear a voice from inside, speaking a language that you don't understand, but that prophet you recognize. There's this voice that like echoes through the space in your like original language, and it maybe takes you a moment to be like, what does that mean? What are they saying?
Right. I've been reading it since I woke up, but I don't think I've heard anybody saying it.
You haven't heard anyone speak it for several thousand years of like slumber.
No agony. No slumber.
Right. Whatever. Anyways.
let's not mince words here.
And yeah, it's this like very clear, very stern voice that says like, what in the God's name has happened here? Like, where am I? Who are you?
Right.
And the spear tip like slashes through the air and is like pointing at the hanged man.
Yes.
And it's, it's fallen, obviously. And they go on to say like, what have they done to you? And like the hand that isn't holding the spear like reaches out, because the hanged man used to be intact.
Right.
And Fallen maybe like recognizes it, but knew it under a different name. And so they say some like proper noun in that language that even Prophet you only like kind of half recognize. And they like reach out a hand and it like tinks against the surface of the hanged man kind of awkwardly. And then the engine like looks at its own hand and kind of like takes a step back as if it's like surprised to see that. It's maybe a little confused. What do y'all do? There's definitely the sound of like probably some bugs are coming again or something bigger down below.
I have a classic Reyna quote, which is, yo, sleep or what do I call it? Nightly McSleepy Spear. What we're doing is getting out of here. You think you can manage to walk?
And there's this whole awkward bit of like, these are people who don't speak the same languages shouting at each other.
Right.
I think I also have like large gestures towards the surface.
Yeah, you're like pointing with multiple arms. Being like,
yes, like, come on! How are you this dense? I'd say it louder because
right, because that's how you communicate
to understand
with people. Yeah.
The
I mean,
hangman will very like simply like just like gesticulate with like two hands like this way. Right, like
And I think maybe like they like figure it out. Prophet, are you like conspicuously silent through all of this?
sorry, you were saying something, Sean.
No, I mean it's fine. I mean I didn't want Prophet to be the. I mean, there's lots of communication that can happen without a shared language, but it does make a certain amount of sense. I didn't know Fallen personally,
Mhm.
but I there's like there's a part of Prophet that feels happy to free Fallen from whatever torment they might have been in this whole time. And there's another part that's like, I'm sorry that you have to go back to work, but that's what we got to do. And she feels like she can relate to this person, ghost, who knows, whatever it is. And says, we don't have any time to waste. Our duty has not, your watch has not ended. Your duty is not over. We need, the world still needs us, and we need to go now. And I want to, convince them to come with us. I don't know if that needs to be done or not. I don't know if they're willing to go, but I want to.
Yeah, because when you're like talking about like it's time to leave, and they're like, while you're speaking at them, they're trying to like cut in and be like, no, we have to fight. Like there's still more of them. Like as if like, oh yeah, that battle I was in the middle of, like I need to keep fighting. So yeah, there is that tension there.
Okay, cool. Yeah. I would like to confess. Prophet is definitely talking about her own. Prophet is definitely talking about her own feelings about waking up and what it was like to be told, "Great, back in service." It's what you get to do.
Yeah, this is less you giving Fallen their marching orders and more you being like, "This is what it's like now." There's this bad,
yeah,
cool.
And I think I'm good at confess. Maybe. I hope. Yes.
I was going to say, if I remember, that's how you prophesize great big bad. So I think you're getting increasingly adept at the matter.
Yeah. And I want to use my Dark Omen. When you use your impossible knowledge to persuade someone, you gain +1 effect. I tell them that now that 2 of us are awakened, the Leviathans will be even stronger than they were before. We have to rally together to fend them off. There's got to be a link between the guardians that held the gate closed and not being guardians anymore. Like everything's about to get horribly, horribly worse.
Yay!
Cool.
Yeah.
Let's call it risky, but you can have great effect, I think.
Cool.
Because finally someone that can speak their language in all of this.
Well, and I get +1 effect from the Dark Omen. So
sorry, you're at great because of that.
Yeah. However, I have existential dread, which I think is going to affect this.
Yeah, because like, what's the point?
Right. What's the point in getting up and putting your boots on to go to fight and do your work if nothing really matters?
And would fighting here be any better or worse than fighting somewhere else?
Yeah. I am drained. I don't know if drained matters or not.
I don't think it applies here.
Okay. So
because you spent a link to ignore one of your harm tags though, didn't you, as well?
I did.
Which one was it that you
I spent a link to ignore drained so I can fight off the bugs.
So it's still so then it's ignored. So you're good.
Okay. Oh right. Because I'm still transcended.
Yeah.
Yes.
Existential dread definitely applies. So your effect goes back down to standard.
All right.
Position's risky.
I'll spend my last magician link to ignore that one too.
Great. I don't think I have any dark bargains I want to offer you.
Okay.
Actually, no, there is one. You can have an extra die if you give me 2 ticks on hatching day.
Oh yeah, absolutely. That's perfect.
Great.
Wait, what? This is a terrible plan. Okay. I will defend you
It's
against
exactly
the
what I professed will happen.
The time spent here talking about it.
Yes. Right.
We hear the like horrible, both like high pitched screeching and deep low rumbling simultaneously sound this thing makes underneath, and like maybe we get a shot from above where like the weird like gelatinous surface of this thing has become less opaque. It's like more transparent and more glowy underneath, and there's some kind of enormous like charnel worm thing underneath that's like coiling around in there, working its way to the surface.
Oh, gee, I'm sorry, Tristan. Chad just made the best one.
Yes.
Why does she have to come in and ruin my
Oh
screen?
no, it's amazing. I love it. I love it to bits.
All right. I'm doing all that. I'm also telling Abbott how much it hurts that she doesn't care about me at all.
Ooh, what's that look like?
What I said, and I don't know if it came through clearly or not. It's like, it doesn't matter how much it hurts. It doesn't matter what you want. Your duty requires you to continue, and no one's going to understand you. That's okay.
Wow, that's uplifting.
Yeah. That's okay. That doesn't make your duty any less. Yeah. And I think she's looking like through the hangman as she's talking to it, like that,
Right, it's the I'm
judgment.
talking to this person, but I'm looking at this person.
Yeah.
Great.
I figure this is as close as I'm going to get to actually telling Abbott what's really going on. So
communication skills.
Cha-cha.
Terrible. All right, I'm rolling confess +1 die for the dark bargain.
Yep.
And I don't know if this is clever or cursed. Actually, I think this is cursed. I think I'm telling them they're cursed to eternal
Servitude.
We can fit this into cursed.
Yeah.
Sure.
Well, but it's not within the curse of the magician itself.
No.
It's a curse that I have. It's not a curse for life. Cursed in a general sense, but not in the sense it's tied to the magician.
That's true. It doesn't incorporate your engine really. So
yeah. It's fine. I'm perfect.
Well, you got 2 5s. That's like a crit.
Yeah, it's poor man's crit.
In no way mechanically does it work as a crit, though. But it has the aesthetic of a crit.
Yeah, it feels critty. But it's still I succeed with great effect unless you reduce the effect, I guess. But
and it's to like rally this person and get them to bug out with y'all.
Yeah.
And also to make Ipsos feel bad.
That part should definitely work.
Yeah.
Every time Prophet opens her mouth, it makes Ipsos feel bad.
Also true, except when Ipsos doesn't notice.
Yeah.
Yeah. That's why she's being more and more overt about it.
Perfect.
And every time Ipsos won't open her mouth, it makes Prophet feel bad. So, that sounded bad. Every time Ipsos won't talk and say what's going on with her.
So what is the bad thing that can have happened to you?
Come on now. It's staring right at us. I see 2 ticks left on hatching day.
No, so you're terrible.
Left.
What?
We can definitely go to 1 tick left. And then maybe get some other thing. I mean, you can take another level 1 harm.
I can't.
Oh, you're all full?
I'm full of existential dread and I'm disgraced. I mean, I can take level 1 harm. It just rolls up to level 2.
I am giving you a level 1 harm.
Cool. What is that?
Just like shrill, like all your talking and shouting is pointless, that you're full of anger and sadness and you're making all these statements, it's just like you're all
nihilistic. No,
just that you're ineffectual is the like no one's taking you seriously.
Oh, okay.
In that way, right? Like you're doing all this talking and you're causing a lot of scene and you're
unloved.
Yeah, there we go.
Yeah. Unloved. Yeah. No, that's that. I'll take that as level 2 harm.
As level 2 harm, certainly.
It's really low for unloved.
Yeah. Now I have a question about recovery.
Mhm.
In old Blades versions that use the kind of recovery system that you use, if you had recovery ticks and you took harm, that recovery all went away.
Not so for GBM.
Okay, cool. Because
Your
I'm
recovery
one tick away from
roll.
all my harm dropping.
Yeah.
I'm at 3 recovery.
I mean, there are even moves that you can pick, like crew abilities that
We
make
have a move that allows us to resist harm level 3 or less completely with a resistance roll every time.
Yeah.
Also true. So if you want to resist being unloved,
If it doesn't mess up your ticks, it's going to go down just like the other one. So you might as well leave it there.
Yeah. Well, it'll stay as level 1 for a while and it'll fly.
Yes.
But that's fine. No, I'm
But
happy.
you are unloved, so you know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's real. How would I resist that?
Exactly.
so yeah, you still write it on your sheet in the normal way. So if both of your level 1 slots are full, it marks as level 2 harm.
Yeah.
And so yeah, you're ignoring your level 1 harms and your level 2 harm in terms of the penalties, but they're still filling those spots.
Yes.
Right.
And I'm currently, while transcended, not paying attention to being drained or having existential dread, but I'm still disgraced and unloved.
So that's good. That's good.
Solid.
Yeah.
But you say this and Judgment was talking back at you, but just stops and nods once, and then leaps very gracefully the whole distance across the from the plinth out to the edge.
Yeah.
And plants their spear to get a grip, and then vaults up, manifests a new spear, plants it in the wall, vaults up. They just make their way up.
Nice.
Huh. Spear space.
Because they don't want to be outdone by these rookies, these young
Yeah.
upstarts. So they're gonna make their way out.
They got 3,000 years of experience on you.
And they can manifest spears at will. It's all right. I think I can take them.
Yeah. Oh, and the funny part about that is it doesn't really matter exactly the words that Prophet said because they were in another language that didn't make any sense. So this is all her confessing to Abbott without actually Abbott being able to understand at all because it was in
because it was in
or,
the wrong language.
But maybe you could tell from the body language of the stony creature. Probably not.
I mean, the part where you're talking to the hangman and Ipsos instead of to the stranger at hand means Abbott just is oh, okay, great.
There's clearly subtext here. I don't know what it means though.
Why are you bringing your issues?
Why are you trying to human at me?
I thought we were working.
And so there's this brief pause as the engine that you're here to pick up just runs off, and then everyone's oh right, we're leaving too, and then this deep rumble below you. What do y'all do?
I hold the rear
and usher everyone along.
Yeah, I'm expecting them to go because I'll catch up and pass them if I need to, but I am the guardian. I am protecting my friends.
Andy, how would you like Abbott to get across this unsafe
Well, in essence,
distance?
Abbott will pick the best path or Ipsos will pick the best path that's available and pay attention to where bugs are pouring out of ports and just, I mean, it's not a bulldozer run. It's a pick wisely bunny rabbit run.
I think the concern is that the surface is
it's not
doesn't have enough surface tension to hold our weight.
Oh,
it can hold up it can hold up the bugs.
Oh, see, I did not know that at all.
It may or may not be able to hold up y'all. I think
this is why we sank into it. We
Prophet got super unlucky and happened to be in a spot where it was you went into a sinkhole.
So it's like a quagmire.
But yeah, there are spots that are more or less stable than others, and y'all were kind of fighting on it for a little bit. And there was I kind of slip in, I have to bounce back out. There's a whole thing there.
Maybe it's like cornstarch, where if you hit it hard enough, then it'll bounce.
It'll form
Surface
Raina
tension.
proved that was not how that worked.
But there are like bug carcasses that are like floating on it or kind of like sticking up out of it now. It's more of a complicated surface than it was before. So maybe
May I make a small suggestion, Abbott? I believe you have ice powers. You may be able to freeze the surface in specific places, much akin to the way that the spears are being used to create like platforms. You might be able to freeze platforms and like Zelda your way across that shit.
I'm sure that is evocative in somewhere. I like it, but I don't understand. But the rest of it I understood. I think that sounds like a lovely I imagine what that looks like then is that we find like after great, we have this like very savvy Judgment when did a thing, and apparently Judgment's good at spears. Oh, right. And so Abbott goes, check that shit out. It's like, I know what I have. And we'll start playing like leapfrog on bug carcasses and like freezing them, and thus freezing like as you land, like flash freezes that and like the quagmire around it. And then boop, 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 boop.
I love the image of you landing and then like ice and like frost shooting out from wherever you land, and then it melts after you leap off of it, maybe, or it starts melting. But that you have these patches where you hit where it freezes,
and this like trail of like fog and frost and
nice
the scent of cold.
Yeah, and I think the like everyone's little HUD where it was like in like an orangey space for heat, the numbers are climbing as this like big worm thing works its way up.
It's doing its warm-up lap.
Yeah. But yeah, like you're definitely cool to roll something to GTFO.
I am inclined. I don't know if it's Defy or if it's Flow, because on one hand, like using what's there, and on the other hand, pushing against the environment very exact, like.
And also doing a thing that you know could be bad, but just being like, "Oh, fuck it, I'm just gonna jump."
Yeah, that seems.
Yeah. It seems like if you were trying to find the more solid spots and like weave out a path, that Flow would make more sense. But this feels a little more like Defy. I agree. Either one sound good, but
as a player, you get to say what you're using, and I think you've described an action that could be interpreted as either. So just go with which one you feel like. I'm
gonna go with Defy, despite that there's a backbone of like. So the thing that came before that was like, oh, I can do shit like that, right? Hey, Hangman, we can do that shit, right? That kind of like
we can.
Yeah.
I would like to throw out that assuming Judgment Fallen has not completely disappeared, that this is an important part for you to show like, oh, you got fancy tricks? I got fancy tricks too.
They're
and
like
Red Baroness
in the upper reaches of the pit, looking back down.
Yeah.
Waiting.
Okay.
Motioning for y'all to come along.
Yes. So I think
again.
Your reputation and now very much does.
Now it is on the line.
Your fame and reputation. So I think you should Red Baroness that.
I'm into that. I think that makes great sense. So I think it's going to be Defy in this instance, because it's a little like it's very much like this baseline of like, fuck this place, time to go. Like,
we'll just say risky standard.
Choo choo.
As soon as hatching day ticks over,
no,
the time will be gone for risky. That's for sure.
Right.
And then a bonus die. Is there anything else that I need to think about today?
The strength of the Hangman is wise.
This doesn't feel particularly wise.
Not today. It was wise while we were thinking about it, but then we did it. How you want to slice that? I don't know. All right, here we go. That's a big sigh, Sean. We got.
It's a happy sigh. It's 12 o'clock here, but it's midnight. It's 9 o'clock here, but it's midnight in East Coast, which means Kickstarter just gave me its cap for the day, and been another very good day for the Big Bad Con Kickstarter.
Cool.
It was a sigh of happiness. Yeah,
I'm very glad. All right. That aside, being celebrated, we'll celebrate more soon.
Yeah.
Here we go.
Yes.
That's a 6.
Yes.
All right, so you carry it with aplomb. What does it look like?
I think that This is another one of those instances where we so often see the engines being kind of slow and a little creaky at times, like, and then they eventually, every once in a while, like have these like explosions and output of energy, and they do a thing that they're clearly meant to do.
Mhm.
And so in this case, one of the things that happens is that we have the pleasure of seeing the hangman, like in and of itself, like completely shrouded in frost, leaping from point to point, and like it's a meandering path, and it's both fast and like not as elegant as Judgment was. Like I feel like Judgment felt like a ballerina, like a lot of strength and very like
Yeah, and,
highly
like
precision.
some jeting across the space, whereas you're
Oh,
like pop, 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 like little jumps and
yeah, very, very like fast and rabbity and abrupt. And I think that those points where there's these flash freezes, there's this the sound of the ice is super like sharp and like a like this like there's both the impact like light and temperature and sound of everything like almost like a thunderclap. Like
right,
like
of, like
thump, like when
as
you
it
fall.
freezes and then it cracks as you like leap from it and
Mhm.
strains under the weight.
So I think that is we don't hear anything from Abbott because Ipsos doesn't have anything to say. Ipsos is in the middle of saying it. And it's probably maybe the most overt, like outside the part where Ipsos bowled over one of the Urcats. This is another strange opportunity where we see Ipsos like being very clear on what she's on about and working with the hangman.
Doing action stuff.
Yeah.
Action. Action.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, and I think we've alluded to this in the past, that like these little bursts of energy where you are transcendent, where you are doing these sort of supernatural elements, that's where the engines get to truly be what they really are for just a hot second.
Yeah.
This is like them in their truest form for just a moment, but then they have to return to this reality, this universe that they live in, where they're caged in stone and slow and slumbering, right?
Yeah.
Like, this is them getting to live too.
So
Yeah.
it smells like the ocean, and it's frosty or like foggy and like almost like it's not that it's foggy, but it's become like in addition to where it was hot and dry, it's now hot and like
Humid.
everything is wet and like starting to drip with all of this outpouring of fog and frost and
yeah. And Shirashi said Randon took up the rear, so I think that we both, Ipsos and Prophet, are moving the front. There's the thundering sound of stone cracking under the weight of the magician and the roiling fog. And
do you need a lift?
No, I think I'm fine, because we're going up. We have this like, I just wanted the cracking because I'm also transcended right now. So it's like the heavyweighted stone,
the elemental aspect.
Yeah, I think we're good.
Yeah, so everyone like clambers up the side and tries to like bug out.
Without letting the bugs out.
Well, they're all like, they've all made themselves scarce because the bigger, angrier thing is emerging.
Yeah.
The thing they tend.
It might be asking who let the bugs out.
No, Sean. Put the bugs away. So, are y'all cool with doing like a group action to see if y'all can get away before this thing emerges?
Yeah, sure.
And this is like the escape montage through the whole facility.
Yes, perfect.
Just because we are running low on time. So
yeah,
that sounds great. Who wants to lead this? I.e., who has the most stress, and what skill are we rolling?
I think I want to lead it with Flo.
Oh, I'm not good at that game.
I think that's the thing that makes the most sense.
Only one person has to be good at it. So
I don't think we have a person.
I'm good at Flo.
Oh, you are? Okay.
Yeah, Flo's my jam.
Yeah, all right.
And did y'all take plugged in?
Yes.
Okay, so everyone has at least one dot in it while transcended.
Oh, good. Then I get +1 dot.
Yeah, so you get +1 to perceive, flow, and analyze well.
What?
Yes, let's
I did not write that down.
I did. It's on my transcendent abilities list.
Yeah.
Was it Andy's suggestion? I think it was brilliant.
Yeah, to just like write the crew abilities on your character sheet. That's what I've been doing as well.
Yeah, no, I'm all about it. I just hadn't done it.
And it's the kind of thing where if you had the actual sheet, or maybe when the sheets are
well, when you have a crew
version,
sheet,
You can just highlight the transcended dot, so you'll know when you're
Yeah.
transcended.
Okay, cool. Yeah, even better reason to. All right, so yeah, let's. I think this is very appropriate. Prophet said, Prophet, it was totally about Reyna taking the lead when it was fighting off bugs, but now when it's get everybody out, she's leading us out. So
Awesome.
we'll lead that action. What is the position and effect?
Still risky.
Can we push it to desperate?
If you want great effect, sure.
Come on, Sean. You know you do.
Oh yeah, I mean,
Y'all
I'm
have
just wondering.
hitting all your rolls for a long time. Like there's nothing.
That's not how probability works.
Putting it.
Do not fall for the gambler's dilemma.
No, what I'm saying is just like I would want to be like, yeah, it's desperate, everything's horrible and bad, but like actually the crew is like pretty on top of things. You managed to deal with the problems quickly and be on your way before this thing has exploded. So
Right.
all I can say is like, yeah, it's risky, I guess.
Duty,
I want to make it horrible, but I can't.
Duty says we leave this place better than we found it.
No. That's not
Yeah, so I'm just wondering what that. I'm totally about. Like, I love rest rolls. You get XP. It's for fun. If things go bad, it's really bad. But I'm just wondering what that looks like. And getting great effect to me would mean we get out and get clear, so we're not like underneath the velociraptors flying above or something like that. Does that sound right to you?
Yeah, like
Andrew, that we're like we get to the conclave.
Yeah,
and
sure.
Desperate in my mind means we are going off comms, and instead Prophet is saying, no, I remember the way out. We're not going to use the grid. We're not going to use the map. Follow me. Or like I have the fastest way.
Not even that you know the way you came in, but that you know a shortcut.
Yes.
Yeah.
Now that I've been here, I know. I remember from someone else, yeah. So
if you get that shortcut wrong, then this
it
charnel
leads
worm thing is
to the charnel worm, right? Exactly. But
Prophet, did you turn off your targeting computer?
Yes, exactly. And I say ignore comms, ignore the maps. I know the way to our destiny, and that makes me right no matter how we roll. Yeah. Because no matter how we roll, we're going towards our destiny.
Our destiny is to be eaten by a giant bone worm.
Yeah.
I am going to push myself, and what that looks like is I'm going to spend a lot of my time making sure that I am first and ahead of judgment.
It's like very important to you that be the case.
Yes.
Yeah. Well, and though we're rolling flow, I do imagine that there's occasionally bugs and whatnot that we're having to fight off. So there's opportunities for heroics and badassery as we go, right?
It's a montage.
It's a montage, yeah.
Would you say that if I am in that montage and fighting off bugs and being heroic, I might also be acting powerful?
Sure.
Well, now we're just...
All right, Red.
Well, especially with the showboating.
The showboating and flexing.
Oh, I get a 3 as my best roll. Continue.
Strush rolled a 2, a 3, a 3, and a 3.
Yes.
Nice.
Ooh,
right.
So many
that has not
good
how...
rolling. That was like me earlier when we were playing Burning Wheel.
I will take a stress for that.
I rolled 14d6 and did not get any 6s and managed to not beat. Anyway, yeah, I had like this horrible roll.
1 in 16 chance, John. All right.
The downfall of the bloodletters came when we rolled 13 dice and got no successes.
Yep.
Yeah.
I resisted.
Yeah, I know. It was good. Thankfully. Okay.
So it is a group action. So everyone
roll flow as well.
Everyone needs to roll flow.
Yeah, I'm trying to decide if I want to push myself because of some of the fun things around Ex Machina. Because we haven't seen that yet.
I want to see your cool move, Andy.
All right, then I will. Great, that thing.
Yeah.
Let me remind myself of what it does.
You push yourself, choose one of the following additional benefits. You compel non-human beings around you to to hinder or distract your foes. You can compel the environment to change itself to suit your needs. Pretty cool.
Pretty great.
I can imagine us running down and there being collapsed tunnels. I can imagine all sorts of environmental issues that.
Yeah, you want to talk about shortcuts? You could make a shortcut.
I think that the thing that I would like to see happen is that as there are a couple times where there's some minor barriers in these hallways, and like Ipsos is as ever like filling these corridors with fog as Tor like tells us the way, points the way, like is
right,
sort
like
of
once you have a sense of where you're going, the fog is like leading the way or moving ahead of the group.
And one of the things that happens is that where the fog obscures, and so where once you were able to see and there were barriers in the way, then there are none.
Right, you just run through the fog and it's fine.
Yeah.
Cool.
I dig it.
And this is going to change the ways in which I dole out consequence, definitely. And if we're just you acting, I would be like, cool, you have great effect, but you already have.
We are at great effect right now.
We already are doing it at great effect, so that's fine. But yeah, I think it's great to have that color in there, and I won't screw you over because it's like, oh, there's a collapsed passageway or something. Like that's
yay, something more interesting.
Undoes it.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So I think you're rolling at +2 dice, one for pushing and one because we're transcended.
Yes. Thank you for reminding me about the transcended one, because I continue to have a hard time remembering that.
Well, that's because of a move, right? That's because of plugged in.
Well, see, I have a hard time remembering it because it's not part of my default on the flow sheet.
Right.
Though it is, I have a paper version in front of me often, so that I have at least hope of remembering.
And then there's also the question of if you're using the strength of the Hangman of Wise. Or if you're using their inputs of their impulses wounded.
I don't know that the wounded one applies. There might be something about being like the wisdom, like there's something about the wisdom of like clearing the way, but I don't know if it's like it's not overt, so I'm not real sure.
Yeah, if it doesn't speak strongly, then we can just
we'll leave it lay.
Carry on. Yeah.
I'll think about how to contextualize that.
Like it feels more like a clever thing than a wise thing to me.
We will have to talk semantics at some point about what wise means, because I feel like that comes up a fair amount about what, like, we should think about that.
We should come to a consensus about what it is.
We should, because I feel like the words we just said about wise, it's not really wise, it's this, has come up a number of times.
Right. Yeah, totally.
To say that Ipsos got a 6.
Nice.
Yeah.
All right. I'm gonna roll because I could stress this out, or I theoretically could crit, but we're already out.
Who's leading the group action here? It's Prophet, right? Yeah.
Yeah, Prophet is. I took 1 stress already for Reyna.
From Reyna.
So I'm gonna roll flow. It's desperate great.
Desperate great.
I got +1 because of plugged in. And I think I was going to make the argument that instead of taking the longer or stable route, I'm trying to Kobayashi Maru, like find the perfect method. Like I'm actually planning that at one point when it starts collapsing, that's when like a different passage opens up. And the fact that then Abbott is even able to like clear things out of the way makes that even better. That like I was expecting to get to a wall and be like, okay, we have to blast through this wall, but
yeah, but that's now the pile of rubble that was meant to be there. You can pass through using this.
Exactly. So I wanted to call Clever in on that as well.
Cool.
All right. So I'm taking 2 bonus dice, and we'll see if I cause myself stress. Nope.
Nice.
All right. So
thanks to Abbott's like rearranging and modifying of the space as you move through it, and like notably as well. Once you pass through and the mist fades, the rubble is there again and like frustrates passage of other things chasing you.
Right.
So it keeps like the smaller bugs off your trail. And y'all like run out through there's some other like gate on the other side of the superstructure that y'all emerge from.
Yeah. I think we
You're in like a
burst
slightly
out of it.
unfamiliar place. But yeah, it's like come tumbling out. Judgment is like running neck and neck with Reyna in the chariot, and like there's like some tension about like who's going to be first, and then at the last moment, Judgment just like falls on its face and like skids along the corridor and goes inert again. Damn. As like whatever like brief moment of like ghostly whatever was in it and giving it life just like stops once it gets far enough away from where it was. And yeah, it just like face plants and skids along the corridor, and you have to like drag it and carry it up the space.
They've got like cables to like lift us up, right? So like where you like hook it up to.
Yeah, and you had like radioed the conclave
harnesses.
and it's like come part of the way and meets you out on the hillside of this huge crater valley. And it has like a gurney that it lowers to like that you flop Judgment into, and then it like cranks it back up with y'all like hanging on the ropes, all cool, like cables, not ropes, but yeah, and it like hauls you back up. And as it's pulling away,
Mm-hmm.
the whole superstructure starts to like part of it like lists in one side, like collapses in, and then the roof of it cracks open and splits in 3 pieces as this enormous worm thing comes out, and it's got like a mining drill for a face, basically. Like it has these huge gnarly like spiny sections that interlock, and it like just like devours the stone as it passes through it. It is sufficiently large that the like bug things, the bigger bug things, are like fleas on it. It's this like mega huge thing.
This is the world serpent.
Yeah, and it like emerges and then like cranes around, and these like all these like stalks and like sensory organs like bristle out of its head and start like looking around for you and like fanning the air. It has like those like moth antennae that have all the little fins on them, and it's like tasting the air and like sweeping through it, looking for y'all. And some of it has like eyes and stuff, and they like point at you, and it makes this huge like sound as you're like floating away. Like,
I imagine we feel the vibration of that roar.
Yeah, like the roar like shudders your engine, and the engines themselves like recoil and are scared, and you get this wave of like their big fear of this thing as you like float up out of reach, and the thing like swings underneath you with its big grinding spiny mouth plates like whirring, trying to like eat you.
No one can live there yet.
Why don't we take this bastion over?
We have the like really far away shot of the conclave like lifting off, and this huge worm like sweeping under it and just missing. And then it like flies away.
Nice. I'm sure that will never come back to haunt us at all.
Yeah, it turns out it was hatching day after all. And that's the true meaning of hatching day, everyone.
And that's what hatching day. That's the miracle of life.
Horror.
I have a plan.
All right.
So we're gonna add a new engine to the hangar.
Woohoo!
There'll totally be a montage of it getting repaired the next time. Let me just. Well, I'll set it up next time. I'll get the judgment card in there. I'm not gonna bother doing it live, but that's your mission, everyone.
Yeah,
you did it.
We did it. We completed
it. I think there's just probably like one tiny detail that I'd like, which is like I think Reyna, like when Judgment is placed inside and we're floating away, I think there's a minute flashback because I'm going to produce it. I think one of the things that Reyna does is like when Judgment is on the ground, she her mech opens its hand
Mhm.
and puts that scrap of cloth that had been dropped of that like just
Oh yeah, of its
neck
like
piece.
scarf thing.
Yeah, puts it on Judgment, and I tap it twice as if it can hear me, and say, "I don't want to win a race by you falling over." But yeah, I think there's probably a shot of us outside of our mechs where I'm asking Prophet, like, so what do you think I'd look like in a giant flowing scarf? All right, that's it. I'm good.
Nice.
Cool.
Love it.
Y'all want to do XP?
Yeah.
And we'll do the like entanglements and whatnot next time.
Sure. Yeah, because we do the
Because
fallout.
we'll get to actually do that stuff on the next session.
Cool.
Who wants to go first?
I'll go first.
Cool.
Great.
I think I have my sheet up, which is why I volunteered. I have already taken care of all my desperate actions. You address the challenge with kindness or self-sacrifice. I don't think the first, but the second I feel like was a thing.
Yeah, you definitely like put yourself in harm's way.
Yeah, you dove into the maw.
Took a big risk.
Yeah.
Expressed your beliefs, drives, role, or background.
Ace Pilot came up a lot. There was all that tension between you and
Yep.
Judgment / Fallen.
I also feel like I played the Guardian, which is my role.
Yeah.
There's a bunch of times where I was putting myself on the line for everybody. I know it's kind of double dipping, but eh. And then I struggled from issues of my obligation. I don't think so. And I played towards the promises of my eclipse. I also don't think so.
Or you showed the contents of your heart.
Remind me, Strash, what Reyna's eclipse looks like.
All the people you have sworn to protect are unworthy of that protection. You belong at the front, leading the fight. Whatever foes exist, you seek them out and confront them directly, right now. Well, actually, I did a lot of that.
There wasn't the disdain, but there was certainly the like, give it here.
Fighting needs to happen. I need to do the fighting. Me. I am fighting now.
So I feel like there was a fair we saw that. And also like ongoingly that as one of the many ways that Reyna supports the team and is strongly believes in her role as a shield, right?
Yeah, like that's so much her identity, and she like seems to draw a lot of her self-worth from being able to be useful in that way.
Yeah.
It's a little messed up, but it works for her. So all right, Red.
Not horribly wrong yet, so far so good.
I will mark some XPs. And I believe that'll be enough to get the thing that I want to get, which well, I am considering the fact that we are starting to fight things that are bigger than us. And there is a power that says that when you transcend, you can grow in size. And that's the one that I'm thinking of taking, because I'm thinking that there will be a moment when Reyna needs to stop just being transcended Reyna and be like up from depth, 30 stories tall.
Yeah, and so like whether that is that your scale like literally increases, or it's just like that you effectively increase your scale, like you punch as if you're 3 times bigger than you are.
Sure.
Exactly. Probably the latter, actually. There's probably going to be like my flame's going to change color and go from like the oranges and reds to like pure white, right? Because it's hotter.
Yep. Ah, yes, Reyna will get hotter.
All right.
Nice.
I'm good.
Just think about all the promotional material that's going to come out of that. It's going to be amazing.
Yeah, you'll have to re-release all of your like fan like all your toys and everything need to get updated. There's like a whole new set of merchandise where it's like
I don't know that they need to be
white hair
updated.
version.
They'll release a new special version, so you have to buy both the toys and swap them out.
Yeah, special edition. Yeah, totally commemorative.
Oh yeah.
I know that I'm probably too nerding out, but they used to have like the different types of like He-Man or like, whatever figurines where you would like have them in an episode where they get an item, but then you had to get the one with that item and then it had like a special thing it could do.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Totally.
False sense of scarcity all day long, right?
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
Yeah.
All right, I'm good with XPs. Whoever is next should go.
What do you want to do, Sean? You or me?
You can go.
All right. So I successfully managed to mark down that one. So does it count having rolled a desperate action in flow for that group action?
Yeah.
Yep.
Great.
Sure.
Wanted to check. Awesome. So you address a challenge with knowledge or subtlety. I mean, yes.
Yeah.
There was, I
For
think,
sure.
there's just in the opening of finding the
Finding a way in.
finding the doors.
Yeah.
And then the whole, in essence, like feelings jump starting judgment.
Yeah, and that those actions were predicated on you like taking time to learn
Yeah.
in advance of acting what the consequences might be and what the actual problem was.
Right.
So yeah, totally. There was also a nice little subtle bit where you were like turning the screws about like, hey, someone's outshining you over here. Like,
Yeah.
it was
Yeah.
a nice little
It was clever.
bit of needling. That was very smart in the moment.
It felt like the right thing to do, and an oddly like understated ethos maybe talks more than Abbott does. I don't know. I'm not sure. I don't know about that.
Is less reserved, more willing to say what's on her mind.
Yeah, is more a more whole person, perhaps. Like if I was thinking about what it means to be transcended, right? So that's a whole different conversation, maybe.
Did you express your beliefs, drives, role, or background?
I feel like that came up a fair bit. If I think about the idea of like a role, the idea of being like being the stranger and being like the tactician in the team, which isn't explicitly a thing we have written down anywhere.
Well, role and background are a thing on the sheet. It's wary, mechanic, and civilian. But
Mhm.
yeah, I totally feel like that tactician element is like part of that
stuff. And I feel like weary mechanic in some ways when we think about what that means for Abbott, which is as somebody who understands how the engines work and is just constantly trying to engage with the engines, despite the people around don't really understand that how Abbott does that. We saw that here again, just a little closer to home.
Yeah, we're like repairing this thing was actually about taking care of its emotional state.
Yeah.
Everyone else was like, get it operational or whatever. Like the briefing was like repair and retrieve this piece of military hardware.
Right.
And you're like, no, we're gonna go like pat it on the head and be like, it's gonna be okay.
It's gonna work out. So I feel like we saw that. I think we also in the same way saw Abbott's like beliefs around a lot of this stuff and like how to approach problems as ever and how to engage as ever. We see Abbott treating the engines like people and more successfully than Abbott engages with people.
Yeah, you don't treat people like people.
No.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
Sorry, Tor.
Well, speaking of people, did you struggle with issues from your promises or obligation?
I mean, I don't know how hard. Well, a little. There's definitely the like gross bug at the initial opening of like the bug playground and like the really gross power dynamics between Tor and Abbott.
I mean,
So
navigating military bureaucracy as a civilian,
is
and I was definitely pulling rank and being like, you need to do this now. I think that makes sense.
I think there's a lot of things there and a lot of Abbott. It might not have been apparent, but Abbott stifled a lot of curiosity around basically everything and did what she was supposed to.
Yeah, you actually like stuck to the script.
Right.
Even if she did it in a way that people didn't value. Right. So she still did the thing versus like being like, what is the bug stuff? Wait, what is the doors? Like technology.
Yeah.
So I feel like that all came up if somewhat in absence.
Can you remind me what your promises are?
My promises are: one is to change her relationship with Tor.
Okay, there was definitely struggling with that. Yeah.
Yes. And then to share her wisdom, air quotes, with Reyna, which at this point we don't see as much. And I keep wondering how that might be. And it's supposed to be a promise to share in some fashion. So there's some looking at that, maybe workshopping.
Is there a, I mean, like in Burning Wheel, you know, when your beliefs are filled, like they're, you know, you write new ones. Do promises ever like become fulfilled and then change? Or
yeah, you can rewrite them just at the beginning of any session. I think is a perfectly fine time to do it.
Cool. I mean, we have played our promises like as very thematic parts of our character. They're very integral to our character. They're not.
Yeah, there's definitely a version where they're a bit more fluid.
Yeah.
Like a way to play where you think of conceive of them that way, but I like them as being this like season to season kind of thing. But like this season of play, it's going to be about this detail of our relationship or me trying to do this thing.
Yeah.
For or at you or whatever. I think both are great. I like this kind of longer form that we're taking where we're a bit slower to we chew on all of these things a lot more.
Yeah.
We hit ourselves in the face with them more.
Yeah. Ram our heads into this particular wall more. Did you embody your eclipse or display the contents of your heart?
So go ahead.
Sorry.
No, you please.
When you asked Judgment, are you lonely? Are you okay? To me, to Prophet, that displayed the contents of your she saw the contents of your heart.
Yeah.
In not a great way, or in a way that made her very angry. But
right, was very hurtful.
It was very hurtful, but like that's what she saw. That's what she thought. It was like, I don't know why it takes me so long to learn this lesson. This is what Abbott cares about. This is what Ipsos really loves. And I'm never going to be that. There's also the thing where how you help people is the way you want to be helped. Like the way you care about people is often the way you wish they would care about you. Yeah. And so I feel like there's a display there of Abbott caring in the ways that she wishes that people cared about her.
And always there is that missed connection of like, oh, you want to be treated a certain way? Well, I'm going to like characterize that in this negative way because I'm Prophet, blah, blah, blah. And then Abbott is like, oh, you have feelings? How tedious and awful of you. Like, they just can't seem to make it work.
Yeah. They can logistics together, okay.
Right.
Ish.
Yeah, like the time they were most in sync and working together and like cooperating was at the very end, running away from the thing. They were leveraging for their skills really well.
Sure. Well, and in the beginning, they were in sync in mechanically, like roughly. But there was a lot of Prophet's feelings that were making it harder. But if Prophet wasn't upset, the actual task that they were doing would have been fine. It wasn't like the thing that she was trying to do together would have been bad. Like they could have been fine logistically, but Prophet was upset.
Totally. And so there was using that as leverage to express that hurt. Poor Prophet. Such poor long suffering Prophet.
That's what she did.
Well.
So that's
all the covered? Okay, so let's move on to Sean.
All right. So I have one question before the regular XP triggers, which was whether or not my Dark Omen triggered. I don't know. I said this big thing is going to come out and eat us. Like we're going to wake this horrible thing and it's going to break out, and it did.
Sean, you made that happen.
That is true.
Yeah, I feel like it didn't really and ultimately it didn't happen. Like I never actually completed
that's
block.
That's what I'm wondering.
Legitimately a problem. It didn't hurt y'all. I just did it at the end to be like, yeah, it happens now because the pressure's off. Cool ending shot.
Yeah.
So I'm gonna say no.
Cool.
So
when we are gonna get eaten by this giant worm, it didn't happen. You didn't get eaten.
Right. Yeah, we didn't actually have to face this giant worm. Okay.
Yeah.
So I'm not gonna take that XP.
It was scary.
I am going to ask for that XP when things get worse on the huge level, because I also said by waking this thing,
Yeah,
we've made everything worse, and I think that is going to come true. But we'll see.
It seems pretty bad. It seems like it's big enough that it could eat the planet.
Yeah. Just take its time.
Over 100 years or so, but
Right. It doesn't need to eat all of the planet. It just needs to follow us and eat our little part of the planet, and that's enough.
True.
Okay. I already did my foreign actions. You addressed a challenge was foresight or revelation. Yes. I think I used that a lot, particularly in finding our way down. But I think I used foresight in finding our way down, and I used revelation in convincing judgment to come with us.
Yeah, for sure. Definitely in idiom today.
Yeah, you like started spouting off. It was great.
Yeah, I realize I have to do that. Like, I just have to like say this is how the world is, because that's what prophet does, right? And that's what the time traveler does. You expressed your beliefs, drives, role, or background. My role is troubled captain, and my background is forbidden lover. Or maybe I have those. Maybe I have
your
those
roles plural are.
My roles plural are troubled captain and
troubled
forbidden
captain
lover.
and forbidden lover. Yeah.
Yes, forbidden lover really sunk in a lot. And captain also, I was like more a captain this episode than I have been really in any other.
Yeah, you were actually like giving orders and directing things. I'm thinking I should change background to history.
Yeah.
To just be like, did you reincorporate details that we have established about your character in interesting ways,
right,
and relate those to the current situation?
That might be a helpful clarification.
Yeah,
history would get that better. Yeah.
At least as it stands on the character sheet right now, I know what my role is. It's troubled captain and forbidden lover. My background, it says role and background, but I don't have anything written in there. I certainly could, but
yeah, that or I need to give some prompts and support for background, because right now it's kind of just floaty, like write down something that your character used to do.
Well, because it's beliefs, drives, and background are all three things that aren't recorded in any way. We just decide whether they are. And role is the one thing that's like, no, we have a hard trigger to look at and go, did I do
so
that?
I think I need to rework that. It's just kind of a blind spot that I've had for a while. But anyway,
I think that makes sense. I possibly even reduce it. 4 different triggers: beliefs, drives, role, and background.
Yeah, it's like
maybe that could be. You struggle with issues from your promises or obligation. I will always love Ipsos. I really wish that wasn't true.
Yep.
I really wish that wasn't true. I will help.
So cruel to your little pawn in this game. You're just like, hey, prophet, suffer more.
It's really great.
Yeah. I will help Raina be the best pilot she can be. I really think that came out as well. Like, I was very much in support of Raina being the big damn hero. Right? Mm-hmm. Like, I'm the leader of the group. I am not the big damn hero of the group. That's Raina. That's her job. And I didn't hold her back this time. I often hold her back because I don't want her to get too good, because once she gets too good, that's the end times. But right, like this time, I supported
will have to sacrifice herself like you did in the past, and like apparently Fallen did, and
Yep, exactly. Well, that's the assumption that Prophet makes. So I'm going to take 2 on that.
It's interesting to think about how strategic Tor was. That we saw a lot of that when you talk about being a captain. There's a lot of different ways to talk about that, and like there was some overt like directing people, but also like the strategic, like I'm gonna back my crew up, like both leading from the front and the back, which I thought was very interesting. Like, what a dynamic, multi-skilled leader.
Oh, thank you. If she wasn't all like crying inside, she would, I mean, literally like unloved, disgraced, full of existential dread and drained, I think she would have been even better. But it's all right.
Win them all.
Yeah, no, I mean, I thank you. I feel like that matters to me as a player. And you embodied your eclipse or displayed the contents of your heart. My eclipse is you've known all along that changing fate was impossible, yet here you are. So much is wasted effort, wasted time. If this fate was inevitable, why not embrace it? I I think there's a part of that did come out, which is I knew freeing judgment from the moment we got in here. I knew freeing judgment was a bad idea. And that was sort of when I got out of character. And I was like, I don't want to tell everybody, let's leave and not do this. But I knew that our whole entire mission was a mistake. And I was like, it's our duty. We're going to do it anyway. Like,
Right.
I realize I'm toying with fate and time. And
I've got a bad feeling about this moment. Yeah.
Exactly. And I stifled it down and said, let's do it anyway.
Sweet.
So
Screaming in the bug goop.
yeah. And did I display I think I displayed the contents of my heart when I talked to Abbott in a language she couldn't understand. But I nevertheless
You spilled your guts.
Yeah.
You did good.
Well, great.
Yeah.
Let's talk about crew XP.
Mm-hmm.
Naja in chat made a great suggestion about, oops, this is my playbook. Made a great suggestion about how to solve background. So I've got it. Because there's the whole idea of like season 1 and what happened in season 1. And so building background out of that.
Yeah.
A new plan. Okay.
Savvy. Nice.
So anyways, did you successfully carry out a mission from the crew's list?
Yeah,
Yes.
we totally did.
Yes, you did.
We did it.
Did you struggle with your place in the world and protect the last bastion? Definitely not that second one.
You know, I don't know about that, because like in some ways we are getting another mech and we at least know what's up right now. So like we've clearly seen that the LDF has been here, and if we hadn't gotten this, it was already like in the process of somebody trying to scoop this thing up. Like the fact is that we kind of know what's coming now. That's
But also, like, would that thing have woken up or hatched or whatever if you hadn't come
I don't
here?
know. I don't actually know how giant worms that live inside jellyfish function.
Yeah, it's true. Neither do I.
Prophet does,
We'll
but she's
find out
not
together.
saying.
But yeah, I like the idea that taking judgment out of there, like, accelerated or caused this like hatching of this thing,
Yeah.
Okie doke.
and that it's ultimately this mission is like the history book will be like, and this is where they really fucked up, right here, this bit.
That's where they got greedy.
Yeah.
So when we talk about struggling with your place in the world, though, I mean, we certainly saw more less prophesizing, and so both as a team struggling in and amid itself. Like, we went on this mission to do what? Like,
basically because Landgrave Hildar made you.
yeah,
we
like,
went on
we
this
got
mission
blackmailed.
because we snuck down there and turned off the power, right? Like that's the
Right.
in fiction rationale.
Yeah, it's
Reason
like
why we got there.
still rolling forward from that.
Absolutely.
Out of character, we chose it and decided, hey, let's go get a thing.
Yeah, and
But
I'm not asking this like sincerely. I'm asking, like, I'm highlighting the fact that like that's part of this struggle in the world. Like, here we are in this system again, and we continue to do these terrible things. And here's a terrible thing as we fight to like continue to exist, and we know it's wrong. Like, there's like both like Tor has this moment. We spend time in using Tor as like our lens on. We know this is not the right thing to be doing.
yeah,
And we still do it.
I'm certainly willing to give you one for struggling with your place in the world.
I think so.
And like,
I think that is really true.
there's the whole kind of ominous foreshadowing bit of seeing another pilot from way back in the day who it's like has come to ruin as well. I'm like, what does this say about what will happen to you all? Like, is this the inevitable
Right?
fate?
Is someone going to find us 3,000 years from now in one of these?
Like,
trips?
even if you win, is that your best outcome?
Yeah.
If only we would be so lucky to have someone to honor us as dead.
Damn, that's dark. Okay, so did you reveal the tragic history of the Bastion, Leviathan, and engines? Certainly, yes.
I think we did that a lot. I think we should get 2 for that because that's what this session was.
Yeah.
Okay, so that's an advance and 1 thus far. And then the last thing is, did you express the essential nature, origin, or destiny of the crew?
Uh-huh.
I think we expressed the destiny of the crew vis-a-vis the world serpent coming to eat our faces. Like that talk about, announcing danger off screen, right?
Yeah,
Like
future badness.
future badness. Exactly.
Yeah, I think that certainly pertains to your like destiny.
Yeah. Right. Like we're not going to just be all like, yeah. And nothing bad happened at all. We got the engine and
It wasn't a clean out.
Dude's car got a little fucked up, but
did we express our essential nature or origin?
I sure feel like we saw the three members of this crew acting in the ways that they're the best at as individuals, as team members. Like we made a really check it out. We
were an
all worked
effective
together. How often does that happen?
We did lots of group actions. We did lots of coordinating in and out of whether the mechanics said they did. There were several times when we were helping each other, even if yeah. I agree.
So I feel like we really hit it on that.
it's good. It's like you're either not succeeding at doing the right thing or doing a really good job but doing the wrong thing. The eternal curse of.
So we have an
crew
advance, which we could look at now, or we could wait on until.
I would like to
session.
stall.
Yeah, stalling sounds good. There's one thing that Tor wants to ask Abbott that is probably more appropriate for downtime than in the mission, but I don't want to forget it between sessions. So is it okay if I have one more snippet of
You could make a note.
Yeah, why don't you just tell me what question you want to ask, and we do it later when.
That sounds great.
Like,
when it's not so. Yeah, that sounds great. So I could make a note. That would also be smart.
I mean, I'm not sorry. I came off as maybe more of a brat than I meant to, but
no, it's smart. Notes are a good idea.
The reason why I'm inclined to push you to wait, Sean, is because it is my intention in downtime to resolve Abbott's apology.
Cool.
So if you want to there's a future broadcasting on the other front of a different version of badness.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like this is important. Yeah. After they get out of their mechs and they're all sweaty and exhausted and beat up and whatnot, and are their engines, Tor turns to Abbott and asks, please just tell me how you'd like us to be. Which version you want, and I'll do it.
Oh wow, the deep compromise.
Great.
I'm and that's fine. And you don't need to respond. You don't need to.
Yeah, I don't want to do that right now.
Yeah. Right. I don't expect there's an easy answer anyway. So, but yes.
Yes.
Cool. All right.
Well, I guess that's it for tonight.
That's fun stuff.
That's a note to end on.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's the after credit stinger.
Yes.
The two of them talking, and we just get the question, and then it cliffhangers you on whether or not Abbott.
Now you get something like Abbott inhaling as if she may, for the first time, actually say something about this, and then it ends.
And then it hard cuts. Yeah.
Cut.
Perfect. All right. Well, with that, we are also done. Done with the show. So thanks all for hanging out with us. This was super delightful and wonderful as always. I think we have more sessions scheduled, although I don't have my calendar in front of me. So we'll be back. We'll find out what happens on the big scale of this huge serpent and on the little scale of my tender little heart. And we'll see you all soon. Oh, wait, hold on. We didn't do the outros thing.
No.
I'm tired.
You want to roll it?
That's all right.
No, we should say who we are and what our pronouns are and what things we're thinking about as we go out of this. So, Andy, Why don't you kick us off? Kick us out.
I'm into it. Hi, y'all. I'm Andy. My pronouns are she and her. If you want, you can hang out with me on the internet at Fictional Mammal on Twitter. That's really the best and only place you can find me. Maybe
Andy?
come back and do this.
Andy posts the best
Selfies.
Her
Selfies.
selfies are very strong.
Story
Like-
checks out.
Real strong selfie game.
Now I'm gonna blush. Damn. So that being said, Andrew, you should definitely start talking.
Oh, okay. I'm Andrew. My pronouns are they, them. I'm looking at our calendar, and our next scheduled game is on Monday, the 11th
Cool.
June. So that's probably when we're going to play this game again. You can also find me on twitch.tv/roll20app, where we play D&D and Burning Wheel. Almost got the Spirits of Shadow, or no, sorry, the Spirits of Hearth and Home to smother the king while he was in a coma today, but then I didn't, and I'm sad. But that series has been getting really intense and very high stakes lately. It's been good. And I made this game. It's called Girl by Moonlight. If you go to my Twitter @Commuting Crow, there's a spot to get at the playtest of it.
It's the pinned tweet. It's right up.
Yeah. And I'm perilously close to releasing another update that is going to include pre-generated content for it. That's like the next big thing I'm working on. So for like con play, or if you just don't want to do all the making up of stuff, I will have taken care of that for you. There will be options.
Andrew will make it up for you.
Yeah, exactly. How about you, Strash?
Hey, I'm Strash. You can find me on Twitter @StrashA. And I am really tired because I have been up entirely too late for a very long time, but it is done. If you're interested, you can find my dark military fantasy game, Band of Blades, on DriveThru RPG. Or if you're a Blades backer, you already have it. But you should check it out. We worked really hard on it. If it's not your jam, that's okay. I will not judge you. But if it is your jam, let us know what you think.
Congratulations, Josh.
Yeah.
Thanks, Andy.
Yes,
Good job. Way to
congratulations
finish something.
on getting it out. On being still, even now, the #1 best-selling title on DriveThru right now. Just checked. And doing such a bang-up job with this. I've played it a couple times and it's real good.
So I have just one thing to ask, which is, hey, Sean, is there anything you want to talk about?
What? What? Hello, all. I'm Sean. My pronouns are he and him. You can find me here, but what you also could do is you could find me in the flesh at Big Bad Con. Well, at a lot of other places too, but you can definitely find. I will definitely be Big Bad Con because that's the convention I'm hosting in October, and the Kickstarter for it is running right now for the rest of the month, the rest of June, and we are doing awesome. And there are so many rad people coming out, so many cool folks. In fact, everyone here will be a Big Bad. Just to give you an idea of how many rad people are there. So if you want to join us and play some great games, please check out the Kickstarter. We have real nice things there. With that said, now I think we're gonna say goodnight. So thank you all for hanging out. We'll see you in the laters.